Welcome back to Indigo Smokes Tarot and Astrology. This is another astrology video where I am interpreting natal placements. This video I'm focusing on Venus in Cancer. So I'm going to briefly explain what Venus represents in the natal chart, and then I'll get into the Venus in Cancer placement specifically. So Venus represents our self-worth, our self-expression, our values, our love affairs, what we're attracted to, what we attract to us. In some ways, I feel like it kind of rules everything leading up to sex, but sometimes it can it's like a liminal point where it kind of straddles, but I feel like Mars is more sex. But there's a little bit of that sexual energy here with Venus as well, because it's leisure, it's pleasure. Venus obviously rules women, feminine energy. Venus represents our love style, our love nature, our love language, what our ideal type is. In a man's chart, Venus will represent his ideal woman, his girlfriend, his who he would want to marry. It also represents it's not only what we're attracted to, it's the type of energy that we attract to us as well, or the qualities that we attract to us via people. What else is here? This can also indicate how best we can attract like abundance. It's also our relationship with money, how we make it, how we spend it, how we view it, the type of gifts we would like to receive, the type of gifts we would maybe give to other people, how to magnetize things to us. Venus is the power of attraction. So there's that. This also rules, once again, going back to our self-expression. It's our aesthetic, it's our style, it's our taste, it's how we like to, it's the type of music we like to listen to, the type of art that we like, the way that we adorn ourselves, like the things we own, the type of things that we like to own, possessions. What else? Also, like I said, anything entertainment, anything art, music, anything like that, Venus would rule what we would be attracted to in that genre. I already said I feel like Venus represents the flirting, the dating. It's the atmosphere, the environment of, attracting people and talking to them and getting to know them. I feel like Venus is very prevalent in that because it's what initially grabs your interest. What charms you, what seduces you. And yeah, I think I already said how we spend our leisure time. So that's just a brief overview of what Venus represents. Now getting into Venus in Cancer. So Cancer, obviously, that is a water sign. It's a cardinal sign. Was there something else I was going to say about Cancer? Oh, ruled by the moon, water sign, a cardinal sign. This energy leads from its heart, not its head. So Venus in Cancer specifically, these people are, of course, take this with a grain of salt, because you have so many other things in your chart that could alter this expression. But just going off of Venus in Cancer alone, this would be someone who is very sentimental, very emotional, very intuitive. They can come off very reserved or shy initially. They can be very, very moody. Mind you, this Venus energy is ruled by the moon, so it can definitely go through its moods of wanting to be bothered and not wanting to be bothered, and withdrawing into its shell. This is a very caring placement. It's a very nurturing, maternal/paternal energy, depending on who has it. This energy is typically a homebody, very home oriented, domestic, needs a very solid domestic life, family oriented, inclined towards like tradition. I would say these people are good listeners. They have really good memories because they remember things according to how they make them feel. This is also, Venus in Cancer would also be very security oriented, because Cancer is all about emotional security, and of course that trickles over into finances, because of course when you have enough money in the bank, that gives you a certain sense of security as well, so it kind of ties in. But Cancer energy, Venus in Cancer, it's more focused, I would say, on the emotional belonging, on the emotional security. like I said, this is a very maternal, paternal energy. This could be a placement where these people start families very young, or it's one of their highest goals to create or make their own family. In a more shadow expression of Venus in Cancer, this can be an energy that is kind of clingy. It can be codependent, can be passive aggressive, can be emotionally volatile. I would say Venus in Cancer in a shadow vibration could be very inclined to giving like the silent treatment, or pouting, or using or being emotionally manipulative, like maybe crying because they know that that's going to get a certain reaction out of someone. This energy can also be very possessive, overly catering to others, going back to that codependency. Can be very, very insecure as well, be very resentful, because of sometimes Cancerian energy it can be like the giver, and because of its intuitive ability to like know what others need and cater to others, it can expect that from other people only to be disappointed. So that's where that resentful energy can come into play. Like I said, Cancer, Venus and Cancer, they don't forget anything. So while they may forgive you, never going to forget, and you may get nagged about it. Like I said, this is the shadow expression of Venus and Cancer. This energy can be very overly sensitive, too attached to the past. This energy could have trust issues with being vulnerable, boundary issues as well, like to the point where their love nature can be smothering or overbearing to other people. This, in its shadow expression, this energy can look for love in all the wrong places, or try to attain love in all the wrong ways. What else is here for the shadow expression? Okay, back to the regular expression of Venus and Cancer would be these people are very cautious in love, slow to open up, I would say, very protective of themselves, of their loved ones. Once again, Cancer, the moon, that's feminine energy, that's fertile energy, that's I was gonna say something else. It's maternal, it's mothering energy. So like I said, just like, having a family, kids can be a part of their goal, or that could be their main focus for some of them. This can also make them very fertile. Mind you, I'm more so saying for like women, because Venus rules women. This energy is very romantic, likes to be very attached, can be very devoted, very warm, very catering. This energy can actually be good with money. Just having like a certain level of financial savviness about them. Once again, because it's like planning for long-term security. Mind you, the polarity of Cancer is Capricorn, and Capricorn is all about financial stability, so that kind of shows up with Venus and Cancer a little bit. These people could be very emotionally perceptive and in tune with their environment, very impressionable, so they can take on the energies, the ideas, the emotions of other people. So they have to be very careful of their environment and what they allow in. Because once they're open to you, and once they trust you, once again, those boundary issues come into play, those attachment issues come into play, and they can be taken advantage of, or become overly accommodating, overly giving, like I said, codependent energy. Tradition inclined, very thoughtful, domestic, very good with domestic life, so cooking, creating a nice cozy environment, that's very good. They're very good at that. I would say these people have big hearts typically. For better or for worse, there's an attachment to like the parents. It could be they're super super close, or if it's dysfunctional, it has a very if it's not in the situation where they have a really good relationship with their parents and their family, it could be that the dysfunction or what goes wrong in their relationships with their parents or their family could very much impact their self-worth, their self-value, because once again, this is a sign that, or this is a placement, and Cancer is an energy that is very focused on its family, for better or for worse, and that family unit has a very strong impact on how they feel about themselves and how they conduct themselves. So this placement can be very sensual, they can be very affectionate, they can be very creative, they're typically very dependable. empathetic. I think I already said intuitive. All of the water signs and have an intuitive ability about them. They can be very low key. They're very good homemakers. I do feel like these people are more so inclined to be homebodies, and even if they do want to go out, they want to go out with people that they already know. They don't typically jump to meet new people or make new connections. I would say Venus and Cancer, they like to cater and nurture others, but they also like to be coddled and babied themselves. And typically and ideally, they would like a partner that will coddle them and baby them, but also allow the Venus and Cancer person to dote on them as well. So this placement can act a bit like a baby, more so I would say in general, but it's more heightened when, they're in their feelings or they feel like their needs aren't being catered to. They can become very baby-like. Once again, going back to the sulking, the silent treatment, the temper tantrums, being emotionally volatile, being clingy, just, that can kind of come out when they don't feel like they're getting enough attention or love or devotion and etc. They can be very fond of children and elderly people. They can connect with them very well typically. I think I already set up on meeting them. These people can come off like they have a, mind you, this is the crab, so there's a tough exterior, so they can come off being very aloof or reserved upon initially meeting these people, or if they feel like slighted or offended, they can also appear that way because that's how they're going into their shell, or that's their way of going into their shell. Commitment oriented, they like to take care of people. They crave solid, safe relationships. They crave deep emotional bonds and attachments and intimacy. They fear rejection. I would say, especially for those who are more feminine in their energy, obviously women and then anyone else who would identify with that feminine energy, these people can what was I gonna say? They can prefer to be chased rather than chasing others. This is water signs typically can have more of a passive energy. Cancer, especially, like I said, that initially not wanting to be an open book could definitely keep them from pursuing love interests. So I would say the women and those who identify with the feminine energy, they most likely will prefer to be pursued rather than to be the pursuers. I would say Venus and Cancer, their values would once again be emotional bonds, deep emotional bonds, intimacy, security, belonging, loyalty, devotion, family. Once again, domestic matters, home life, that needs to be something solid for them. Comfort, commitment is a part of their values. Romance, compassion, and long-term relationships and connections are things that they value very, very dearly. I would say as far as their home and how it's designed, how it feels, the atmosphere of it, they would need to, one, I think these people would love to come home to obviously their family, just coming home from a long day at work and you see kids playing, or you see the family playing a game at the table. That would be a Venus and Cancer thing, something that they would like to come home to. Their home life needs to be cozy. It needs to be intimate. It needs to be very, very comfortable. It'll probably reflect a lot of sentiments. So they would have a lot of pictures and trinkets and memories of vacations, family events, and just anything family related, anything that you can take pictures of, anything that brings back fond memories of the past. That's most likely what will be decorated or included throughout their home. Obviously that's what people do, but it's heightened with this energy. I would say this placement could also work from home if they wanted to, or they could get into real estate. Cancer can have to do with owning land, it being passed down, a family, passed down amongst family. For these people, their home has to be their sanctuary. It has to be their haven. It needs to be happy. It needs to be their retreat. And the aesthetic could be a little bit they could have like a lot of vintage or antiques, or once again family heirlooms, things that have been passed down, decorating their home. What else? I would say just a lot of cozy furniture, nice throws, maybe cozy fur pillows, cashmere blankets. I would say very similar to like Venus and Taurus, but not necessarily luxurious, but it's the same level of cozy, like a cozy element to, their home and how it's decorated and how it feels. So hope that makes sense. This placement could show an interest in their ancestry and their heritage, and keeping certain traditions going or in establishing their own. What else is here? I think I already said they're very good at domestic matters, like, so they could be considered a domestic god, a domestic goddess, being very good homemakers, being very good cooks, being creative, maybe gardening, all of those things they could be good at. Cooking, decor, nurturing, soothing. I would say Cancer is that they're the chefs of the zodiac. Taurus could apply too, but Cancer for sure, because it's about home. Let me see, did I say everything on this page? I'm sorry, my notes are just like scattered. I'm trying to figure out where I want to start. So Venus and Cancer, they can have like, no, I'm not going to say that. That's so obvious. Okay, so I'm just going to focus on the partner. So Venus and Cancer, their partner ideally would be very attentive, very affectionate, very loyal, of course, and devoted. Someone who they can depend on, someone who is solid, someone who is trustworthy, who is also family oriented, someone who is financially secure, or at the very least stable. Someone who can put up with the Venus and Cancer's moodiness and how emotional they can sometimes get. They would need someone who could be patient with them in that regard. I would say men with this placement, they may like their women to, and it may be subconscious for some of them, but these men may like women who in some way, shape, or form remind them of their mom. Not in a creepy way, just in it brings them a sense of comfort to have someone who has certain things like their mother, whether that's their demeanor, whether that's, oh, they know how to cook just like my mom, or something along those lines. I don't see it in a creepy way, but it could be perceived that way. They may like women who are more like old-fashioned. Once again, they wanted someone who wants to be a wife, wants to be a mother. That would be very attractive to them. They like emotional women, family-oriented women, maybe traditionally inclined women. A woman who is very nurturing, very maternal, very soft-spoken, sweet, feminine, very, very feminine. Intuitive women who can tune into, for men, who can tune into like what they need, because these men are probably moody in their own right as well. These men, because Cancer rules the breast, Venus and Cancer men could be very attracted to, women who have a nice décolleté, nice boobs. That could be like something that is a turn on for them. Obviously, they like their women loyal and devoted as well. Innocent looking, maybe someone who plays the damsel role, or who seems like they need protecting. These men could be attracted to that as well. Whoever they partner with, men and women, they would need someone who shares their love of comfort, shares their love of like simple pleasures and the simple life. These people are very private. They can come off very secretive. They can also, in, like I said, more extreme expressions of this, they can smother other people with their love expression, or kind of lost my train of thought there, but they may seek to recreate like childhood memories. Like I said, Cancer is very past oriented, clinging to it, reminiscing about it, trying to recreate it. It's definitely a theme with this placement. Or they could also like visit places that remind them of home, or visit places that they used to when they were younger, when they were children. So let's say someone who has a Venus and Cancer placement, let's say when they were growing up, they would always go and vacation with their family in, I don't know, Florida, just for the hell of it. That's probably something they would want to continue to do throughout their life, because they can kind of reminisce and, get that same sense of, comfort that they got when they were children. And it's also, that could be, like a family tradition. So let's say that if this Venus and Cancer person was vacationing every year with their family to go to Florida, and maybe it trickled off, Venus and Cancer would want to once again do that with their own family that they create. Once again, perpetuating traditions, repeating the past in hopefully positive ways. That's like a theme here. So hopefully that made sense and I didn't ramble too much. What else? That would also apply to music. So the songs that they heard a lot, like let's say okay, so I don't know like what ethnicities are watching this, but if you come from a black household, black mothers typically, or grandmothers at the very least, because we're in a different era of parenting, but black moms, black grandmothers, they are known to wake their kids and grandkids up early as fuck in the morning and either have gospel music playing, or they have some good old oldies music playing, whether that's Marvin Gaye, the Isley Brothers, and they cling to it. So that could definitely be something that someone who has Venus in Cancer, they would continue that tradition. So even if it irritated them growing up, they may implement that as a part of what they do on an ongoing basis with their kids. Just repeating certain things of their past or in their upbringing, it brings them a sense of comfort. It brings them a sense of tradition, something that they want to pass down. So music that was played, whatever desserts, foods, treats that they enjoyed, they'll probably still like those to this very day. They may encourage their kids to indulge in those things as well. So whether it's music, whether it's places, whether it's vacations, that is something that if they did it in their past, they're going to want to recreate that or revisit that energy, that place. They're going to want to somehow, some way travel back to that moment in time, because it brings them that sense of comfort. They may hold on to a lot of things from their childhood, once again, either for comfort or to also pass it down and give it to their kids. Let me see. This placement could be the most inclined to have like very, once again, strong mommy daddy issues. So like I said, family is a strong part of their self-worth, whether that's conscious, subconscious, whether that's good or bad. Their relationship with their parents, with their family, mothers especially, can have like a very major effect on how they go about things and how they feel about themselves. These people could attract people who are also emotional or moody. These people could attract people who are very needy or clingy as well. Or they could also attract toxic or manipulative people, because people can sense how giving or intuitive or catering that someone who has Venus in Cancer or Cancer dominant energy, how they can be. People can pick up on that, so they can draw in their fair share of toxic or manipulative people in that, right? These people can be hot and cold. They can attract people who are hot and cold sometimes. They have to be, on the lookout for like one-sided connections. Once again, going back to that, they give off such a nurturing energy, and people can sense that and try and take advantage of it. If no new friends was a person, I would say it would be Venus in Cancer or Cancer dominant people. Like I said, they're not excitedly jumping into new things with new people. They're not. Let me see, what else do we have here? Also, whoever has Venus in Cancer, they need a partner who knows when to just leave them alone and give them space to work through their own inner world or emotional issues, and someone who won't be insensitive about it, or take it personal. What else is here? I already said this placement is very nostalgic. For this placement, love is cuddling. It's warm, it's cozy, it's security, it's a sense of belonging, it's a sense of acceptance, it's a sense of family. It's love is sensitivity, it's vulnerability, it's emotional security. Those are the, I would say, the key words or the key phrases for Venus in Cancer. Their appearance, they could have very watery or emotive eyes, luminous skin. I would say, when I say thick skin, kind of plump, a plump look to it. Once again, the women can have bigger chest, or they can just have a very attractive look to their décolleté or their breast. Even the men can have like prominent chest or nice chest. Something about it is just nice. Appearance wise, they may be attracted to lighter colors, whites, light blues, things that are reminiscent of the moon. That could be their palette. So light grays, whites, pinks, light blues, that could be an aesthetic or colors that they're drawn to, especially once again the women. The women could also like they could like, I would say, vintage clothing or classic clothing, but I guess that could apply to the men as well. It could, but I'm more so saying that for the women. I feel like people who have Venus in Cancer, they look innocent. Whether they are or not is totally up for debate, and it depends on the situation, but they can have an innocent look to them. As deceptive as that may or may not be, they can look very innocent. I would say most of them are not. Once they are comfortable with the person, I do feel like they can be very, very sexual, very sexual, very sensual, very attractive. But that whole innocent thing, I don't feel like that's typically true with this energy, but they can play that role very well. Let me see. An ideal date for Venus in Cancer would be staying in, having a nice home cooked meal, cuddles on the couch, watching a really good movie, having some good wine, maybe followed by sex, a lazy morning with breakfast in bed. That would be like ideal for Venus in Cancer. And if children are involved, then of course the kids go to bed first. The kids could be included in on the movie night, the dinner, obviously, but with or without kids, I would say a nice night in with really good food, really good entertainment, and just intimate vibes, cozy vibes. That would be right up the alley of Venus and Cancer. For those who are maybe in the earlier phases of dating a Venus and Cancer, I would say taking them to a cozy, intimate, sophisticated restaurant with maybe a nice view where there's a lot of candles lit, where you can just talk and get to know each other. That would be something that a Venus and Cancer would like. Movies, dinners, maybe more intimate concerts, like a lounge, maybe. That could be a good date for a Venus in Cancer who you're still in the early dating phase or stage with. I would say the love language of Venus in Cancer is definitely touch. Once again, hugs, cuddles, kisses, very affectionate. Words of affirmation as well. Hearing I love you, because they can sense the energy or the intention behind it. It can really boost a Venus in Cancer up. But strongly touch, strongly words of affirmation, and maybe a little bit of acts of service, like, because they like to do things for people, and I think ideally they would want someone who would be able to do those same things or return that same energy to them. So touch, words of affirmation, and acts of service, I feel like those are the the love languages of Venus in Cancer. I feel like quality time is obvious, just because once again they can kind of, that's why they can come off clingy, because of the whole they want to spend time, they want to be around the people that they love, their partner especially. They want to be around them often, if not all the time. So I feel like the quality time part is kind of obvious, but Let me see what else is here. Venus and Cancer people, they may pride themselves on their ability to comfort and nurture and protect other people. Others typically feel safe or coddled around, people with Cancer dominant or Venus and Cancer placements. These people like to make their loved ones happy. Sometimes they can be a little bit too dependent on making others happy, just because it could be too tied into their self-worth. Like if they don't satisfy this person, they don't feel good about themselves, or they doubt themselves, or they go into their shell and they just are really hard on themselves. So they have to be careful about that. But they do like to make other people happy. They do like to nurture. They just want to take care of people. They want to love and be loved, to nurture and be nurtured. I will say that people with this energy, they could have a need to be needed. The men and the women. I would say some shadow traits of this placement would be avoidance or passive aggression, or the opposite direction of being very emotionally volatile or manipulative to, coerce certain reactions out of people. These people Cancer energy itself can be known for like repressing or suppressing like how they really feel, or not expressing it. This energy can be prone to like withdrawal, or going within their shell. They have to be careful to not like bottle things up. Like I said earlier, they don't forget, but they may hold a grudge. They may. I would say people who have a lot of Cancer energy in their chart, or with this particular placement, they can expect people to just know how they're feeling, or to just know what they need, or to just know that, they offended this person or this placement. Like, because Venus and Cancer can be very intuitive on their own, it's like they naturally assume that other people have that same ability, which is so very not true. What else is here? So they have to be more expressive about like when they're hurt, when they're bothered, when they're offended, instead of assuming that other people just know. For both genders, or any gender, this can apply, but I feel like this may be more like prominent with maybe the men. This placement can be very afraid of vulnerability, can be very afraid of opening up, once again going back to that fear of rejection, and just being very cautious and having like trust issues in that regard. They can be afraid of vulnerability because they're just very self-protective in that way, especially if they've been hurt before or disappointed. That can linger. They can be haunted by that for a very long time. They can appear to have tough shells and facades, but they're typically very soft and gushy on the inside. They're very protective of their space, of their comfort, of what gives them comfort. They're very protective of their hearts. They're very protective of their loved ones. It just that comes naturally to them. I think I already said their ideal partner will know when to give someone with this placement their space and the time to process their feelings. I already said that. I would say people with this placement, they're the types to like call their loved ones and check on them, or this could be also the type that they like their mates or their children to, keep them in the loop and check in with them when they're away. This is also the type to check in with their mate or, whoever when they're out and they're doing their own thing. They have to avoid excessive people pleasing, go back to the boundaries thing. They have to learn what their boundaries are, preferably early on. Cancer energy in and of itself is very sensitive to criticism. That may be heightened with people who have Venus in Cancer as well. Their deepest need is emotional security. Once again, to love and be loved, to nurture and be nurtured, to protect and be protected. That is their deepest need. They need that sense of belonging. They also need to be needed in a in some way, shape, or form, they need to be needed. It adds to, once again, they pride themselves on how nurturing they can be and how loving they can be to other people. They do have to be careful of falling into codependent dynamics. They have to be careful of becoming needy. They have to be careful of becoming overbearing with their love nature. I already said they intuitively know how to tune into their partner or their loved one's needs and adapt accordingly. The women with this placement, I think they're typically very, very feminine. Like I said, they could have a classic look to them or a fashion sense about them. They may keep their makeup to a minimum. Not all, but I would say if this energy doesn't have too many like hard aspects or anything like that, this could definitely be a sign or a placement that keeps their look natural. This placement, the women especially may be prone to crying. Like I said, this is a very emotional place for Venus to be. Venus can be her full feminine self with this. And this placement falls in love very, very hard, and a heartbreak can be something that is heartbreak and / rejection can just be very hard for them to get over. It's like the memories haunt them. You know, it's hard for them to separate the two and open back up to try again. So they definitely take those things very, very personal and very deep. You know, it can become very deep rooted in them to put up their guard after they've been hurt. Or put down their guard after they've been hurt. Yeah, put down their guard after they've been hurt. Okay, and I think we're almost finished. So, my handwriting is horrible. Give me a minute. Okay. So, the men, I would say the men with Cancer energy, the men with Venus in Cancer, there's that same need to be appreciated. And there's a resentment that's there if they don't feel that appreciation. Typically these, just like with the women, I feel like this is kind of blanket, but since I'm focusing on men, I'm going to say that. But typically they're very close with their family. If not, you'll see the dysfunction and the effect that has on someone or a man with this placement. But typically very close with their family, mothers especially. I already said they see qualities of their mother in their mate, whether consciously or subconsciously. Whether that's a demeanor, whether those are certain abilities, skills, cooking, whatever, nurturing, whatever that is. Being traditional. They want a woman who wants to be a wife and a mother. They may be okay with the whole stay-at-home wife thing. They want someone who they feel or seems to need their protection. They want someone who they can be very protective of, who needs that. They may start their own family very early in their lives. And they're usually going to stick with who and what they know. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see, what else did I put here? Especially with the men, trust and vulnerability doesn't come easy for him. He likes his women soft-spoken. He likes them warm. He likes them feminine, sweet, maternal, doting, very attentive, loyal and trustworthy. Someone, once again, who needs protecting, has a very big heart. He may be turned off by loud or aggressive or flashy women. These men can be very possessive and jealous. And they obviously, I think I said this earlier, tend to suppress their feelings or expressing them verbally, and as opposed to, you know, taking the mature approach to it, they may express their emotions through being overly aggressive to overcompensate for their sensitivity. These men can be very sentimental. They can be very sensual. These men can also be very good cooks as well. But some of these people, some of these men, they can lose lose themselves, their identity in what they need to do for their family or in what they need to do for their partner. They can definitely lose themselves in the roles of husband, father, hard worker, and not really have much of an identity outside of that. Let me see. They can lose themselves in their family unit, whether that's their own family with their wife and kids or with their, parents, cousins, siblings. They can get lost in the sauce in regards to that, because that becomes their main focus as opposed to what they need as an individual. Sometimes this placement can be very self-sacrificing, pointing back to what I just stated previously. I would say that these men, they're prone to commitment, but they still may be cautious or take their time in getting there. They're typically not impulsive in that way, because they have to know that they can trust you and depend on you. I would say these men, Cancer dominant men, Venus in Cancer, they can, I would say they're prone to moods of blues or depression, and likely the men will not express that verbally, so that's why they would need friends or a partner who can once again tune into that and cater to that that issue that they have. So what else is here? Yeah, that's pretty much it on that. As far as jobs and careers for someone who has Venus in Cancer, I would say, or something, or natural skills or talents that they have. Once again, these people are very empathetic. They're very intuitive. They typically have a certain level of emotional intelligence about them. So anything related to therapy, psychology, counseling, being an educator, being a chef, being into, once again, real estate, those things can be very good for them. They can have a lot of business savvy. They can be good at interior design. They can be good at organizing events, maybe even nonprofits, charities. And what else? Anything to do with their hands? No, I think that's pretty much it. Let me see what else about Venus in Cancer. Also, them being parents, becoming parents, that could be once again a part of their self-worth, their self-value, how they view themselves. Priding themselves on being a good parent, priding themselves on being a good wife, priding themselves on being a good, father, mother, wife, etc. Is there anything else that I am forgetting? Real estate, owning land could be an interest of this placement or a way for them to make money. Working with children, that could be something that they're naturally just very good at, or that could also be a career route for them. Honestly, I feel like I covered everything. So if you feel like I forgot anything, missed anything, please leave that in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please like, share, subscribe. I appreciate any and all feedback. Like I said, if I missed anything, just let me know in the comments, and I will see you sooner rather than later in my next video. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in, and I will see you soon. Mwah.